What's up, horror fiends? Got a truly chilling tale for you tonight about 4 college buddies whose road trip took a turn into sheer terror. Let me set the scene. 4 close friends, Julie, Michael, Steve and Chloe, were just hanging out in Michael's backyard one cloudy afternoon.
Hey, why don't we go for a drive out to my family's farmhouse? Could be fun.
I don't know. The weather looks like it's going to turn nasty soon.
Don't be such a wet blanket, Chloe. Let's go for it.
Michael and Steve talked Julie and the reluctant Chloe into joining them, so they packed up Michael's car and headed out. The gloomy skies quickly opened up into a total deluge. As if that didn't make things ominous enough, Michael had tuned the radio to some scary podcast. The host's eerie voice crackled through the speakers.
Are you trapped somewhere with no way out? Have you ever found yourself somewhere you just can't escape?
Oh, hell no, I'm not listening to that creepy stuff.
Mother Nature seemed intent on ratcheting up the dread factor. Out of nowhere, a clap of thunder exploded and torrential rain pounded the car. That's when Michael felt it start to sputter and lose power.
Oh crap, I think we're stalling out.
Pulling over, he hopped out to pop the hood and check, getting absolutely drenched. When he squelched back to the driver's seat, the bad news was...
Damn, the engine's flooded out from all this rain. We're stuck here for now, guys.
The friends sat in tense silence, wondering what to do next in the total middle of nowhere downpour. That's when they heard the faint tap on Steve's window.
Did you guys hear that? It sounded like a knock.
Oh, please, don't open it, Steve.
Despite the others' protests, Steve cracked the window to look out into the stormy darkness. At first he saw nothing but night and rain. Shrugging, he rolled it back up. But then the ominous knock sounded again.
Steve, don't. Just leave it alone.
This time, when Steve leaned out to peek, a figure suddenly materialized. An old, wrinkled man in a coat with an eerie lantern, having seemingly appeared from the void. The girls screamed in terror.
You folks, you need to leave this place now.
His gravelly voice sent chills down their spines as he warned them about the cursed woods they had broken down in. And so began a nightmarish evening they wished they could escape from.
These woods are cursed. Many have gone missing and lost their souls here over the years. But I can offer you safe refuge. Follow me to the old mansion I keep watch over.
With nowhere else to go, the soaked and frightened friends grabbed their things and followed the old man's lantern down the trail. As they walked deep into the woods on that stormy night, they saw a huge but decrepit Victorian mansion only visible in the moonlight. The huge door of the ominous manor opened with a scary creak. As the friends stepped into the mansion, they found themselves in a large candlelit hall with its old furniture covered in dust. As they approached further, the caretaker turned with an ominous warning.
You can make yourself comfortable in one of the rooms upstairs, but no matter what you might hear tonight, do not leave your rooms. There are forces at work here that I cannot control.
The friends settled into one of the mansion's musty bedrooms, trying to make sense of the caretaker's haunting words. Unbeknownst to them, this room was one of the only safe havens, its walls lined with occult symbols protecting against the evil presence.
Okay, this place is beyond creepy. Maybe we should have just stayed in the car.
And risk getting murdered by whatever's lurking out there in the woods? No thanks.
Well, I for one am not leaving this room. Not after that crazy warning.
Agreed. It's not worth risking our lives over.
The friends had only been in the bedroom for about an hour when the first terrifying event occurred. Just as they were discussing what their next move should be, the heavy wooden door began violently rattling on its own accord. The friends watched in horror as the door seemed to pull inwards, like an unseen force was trying to seal them inside permanently.
What the hell was that? Did you see the door moving by itself?
Oh God, maybe this room isn't as safe as we thought.
Michael and Steve had to use all their strength to push back against the inexplicable force and relock the door, leaving them all shaken. A tense couple of hours passed before the next paranormal disturbance. The storm raged on outside as Chloe went to rest her head against the wall, only to jerk back screaming bloody murder. Seeping out of the wallpaper were fresh crimson handprints that seemed to bleed down the walls, like someone had tried clawing their way out from inside.
Get away from the walls! There's blood, handprints!
What? How is that even possible?
The friends huddled together on the bed, terrified at the implications of what could have caused such an ungodly phenomenon to manifest. An indeterminate amount of time crept by, each minor sound or movement making the group flinch. That's when they realized their possessions were beginning to vanish without explanation. Every time one of them set down an object, it would mysteriously dematerialize within minutes. Julie's phone, Steve's keys, Chloe's backpack, all blinking out of reality before their eyes, no matter where they left them unattended.
First my phone, now my backpack. We're not alone in here.
Julie exclaimed.
Stay together and don't let go of anything important.
As the long night dragged on, the friends were too scared to sleep. Their nerves were shot. That's when they started to hear quiet whispers surrounding them. The whispers seemed to come from the walls themselves. At first, the whispers were too jumbled to make out. But they grew clearer and louder over time. The whispers took on an evil voice of their own. The scary voice taunted and dared them, saying,
"Look around the hallways, or you will never get out of here."
Oh man, did you guys hear that? It sounded like...
Chloe, hugging her knees tightly.
Voices, I heard the voices clear as day.
The friends could do nothing but huddle together, holding their breath in terror as the ominous whispers washed over them, unabated through the remainder of the night. Who knew what further horrors the darkness held? As the tension intensified, Steve and Michael's restlessness got the better of them.
I can't just cower in here all night. I need to find a way out of this nightmare.
I'm with you, man. Let's scout the hallways and look for an exit.
Bursting into the corridor against Chloe's pleas, an invisible force violently shoved Steve backwards. His anguished screams cut off by a fatal crunch as he struck the staircase, neck broken. Michael stumbled back to the bedroom in shock.
Oh God! Steve, he's dead!
Chloe had been the most adamant about staying put in the relative safety of the bedroom, as the creepy caretaker had warned. But when she heard Steve's anguished screams echoing from the hallway, followed by a sickening thud, her resolve crumbled.
Steve!
She cried out, fear for her friend overriding her own terror of what malevolent forces lurked beyond the door. Against Julie and Michael's frantic protests, Chloe flung open the bedroom door and rushed out into the shadowy corridor. What she saw next froze the blood in her veins. Steve's lifeless body crumpled at the base of the staircase, his neck bent unnaturally after what looked like a bone-breaking fall. As the reality set in, Chloe barely had a chance to scream before an invisible force violently seized her and pushed her violently back into the room. As she tried to get up the floor, she found herself surrounded by an unholy wail that wrenched her into the air, her slender frame contorting in unnatural angles. Her back arched painfully as she levitated a few feet off the ground. Eyes rolled back as something sinister took hold. Then blood began pouring from Chloe's nose, eyes, and mouth as the dark presence toyed with her like a rag doll.
No, God, please no.
She gurgled between blood-curdling screeches of agony. But it was too late to reason with the supernatural evil that had ensnared her. With one final gut-wrenching wail, Chloe's lifeless corpse crumpled to the floor in a sickening heap, another soul claimed.
Help me. Oh God, it's good.
With a final gurgling screech, Chloe's lifeless body crumpled to the floor, her life essence ripped away. Julie and Michael screamed in horror and, gaining every ounce of strength, moved Chloe's body into the dark corridor. They then shut the door and huddled together, thinking what fate will bring to them in this dreadful night. As the harrowing night descended into total pandemonium, Julie realized their only hope of survival was drawing upon her deeply held faith. Clutching the Holy Cross necklace she always wore, Julie began reciting fervent prayers under her breath. Michael looked at her, bewildered, until he saw her necklace seeming to faintly emanate a warm glow.
Julie, your necklace! It's shining!
He gasped. Indeed, as she continued invoking the holy verses, the sacred cross radiated brilliant golden light, illuminating the corridor where Chloe's body lay. An unearthly screech of rage tore through the halls as the evil presence recoiled from the purifying energies. Thinking quickly, Michael grabbed the necklace from Julie's hand and held it aloft like a talisman as they made a break for the front doors. The necklace's holy aura appeared to part the very shadows clawing at them, the malevolent force unable to breach its sanctified protection. Hurling themselves through the narrowing exit just in time, Michael and Julie tumbled outside, gasping for air as the doors slammed shut, but not before catching a glimpse of their former safe room, now utterly defiled in a swirling vortex of darkness. The haunting had summoned every ounce of its power in retaliation for their escape, already beginning to regenerate its grip on the accursed grounds. They had been delivered by divine intervention, but who knew if its holy light would be enough to keep them safe another night? Battered, but still clutching Julie's necklace, the two friends fled into the woods, the golden cross burning like a beacon that would hopefully guide them to the sanctuary they so desperately needed. Using every ounce of strength, they tumbled outside just as the entrance slammed shut behind them, trapping the malevolent force inside once more. Panting and battered on the grounds, they looked up to see the caretaker watching them through an upstairs window, a bone-chilling grin plastered on his face. After some time, Julie and Michael discovered from folks that centuries ago, the mansion was home to a wealthy aristocrat who practiced the dark arts in secret. Obsessed with attaining immortality, he delved deeper into forbidden occult rituals, eventually making a pact with a sinister demonic entity. The demon granted him eternal life, but at a horrific cost. It demanded endless sacrifices, fueling itself on the souls of the living. The aristocrat became the demon's willing servant, luring unsuspecting travelers to the mansion and murdering them in brutal occult rites. Over the decades, the demon's insatiable hunger grew, and the mansion's halls became soaked in the blood of countless victims. The malevolent energy coalesced and lingered, binding the demon's essence to the very structure. Despite endless sacrifices, the aristocrat fell into his own evil trap of demonic rituals and had a tragic death. After the aristocrat's eventual death, a long line of caretakers maintained the grounds, knowingly or not serving the demonic presence that haunted the damned estate. They tried to keep trespassers away, warning those who wandered too close. So, you see, the caretaker was bound to serve the ancient demonic presence, luring foolish trespassers inside to sate its endless hunger. For the caretaker knew that once victims entered the mansion's walls, the demon considered them fair game to torment, possess, and ultimately consume their souls to fuel its never-ending existence. By leaving their rooms against the caretaker's advisement, Julie, Michael, and their friends breached the demon's domain and fell prey to its ravenous hunger for souls, a price they paid dearly. Julie and Michael had eluded its grasp, if only temporarily. Who knows what other ill-fated souls may still await their turn. Lock your doors tight tonight, Fright fans, and brace yourselves, for these dark whispers in the night are far from over.